Hello guys, welcome to Nascent Tutelage. We begin our series on research methods where we'll be looking at what research is, a type of research, how to conduct a successful research, the cycle of research, and basically everything you need to know around the course research methods. And this will help you to enhance your understanding and to also increase your chances of excelling in examination. For this particular episode, we will look at what research is and then we'll take a step further to understanding the types of research based on purpose and approach. However, there are about 4 classifications of research, but we would stem our attention to the type of research based on purpose and approach. Do not skip the video, and trust me, by the end of this screencast, you should understand what research is and also understand or distinguish the type of research based on purpose and approach. Before we even delve into the lesson, do subscribe to Nascent Tutelage, turn on the notification button so you don't miss out on any of our videos, because we will be looking at different courses, different areas of interest. So turn on the notification button, share the page with colleagues so that you don't miss out whenever we upload a new lesson. Alright, so we begin by what is research? So research is a term that has been widely misconstrued by many of us. This is a term that we tend to use almost in everyday life, but we tend to misconstrue the meaning of what research is. So, for instance, we take the mere gathering of information as research. So I'm going to conduct a research. I'm going to do my own research on teenage pregnancy, and then I'll tell you what I found out, and so on. But then, is that what research really is? So research is a systematic investigation undertaken to increase our knowledge on a particular problem or situation. So we need to understand that research is first of all systematic, in the sense that there is a criteria, there is a procedure that you have to follow. There are steps that you need to comply with in increasing your understanding on a particular situation or problem. That's what makes a research. So if you want to conduct a research, there is a criteria you have to follow. But you need to first identify a problem. You should do some background check in the form of literature review. You should draw your hypothesis, collect the data, analyze the data before even publishing your results. That's what makes it research. You are following a criteria that has been laid out. So research also involves the collection, organization, and analyzing of information. But we need to understand that research is not limited to just the collection and analyzing of information. It involves this, but it's not limited to this. So it involves questionnaires, surveys, interviews. That is the means of collecting information, but that is not what research is limited to. So to get an appropriate definition of what research is, we need to understand that 1, research is systematic, and then 2, it also involves the collection of data. You have to put this together to get your definition of what research is. Okay, so according to American psychologist L. Robert Barbie, research is a systematic inquiry to describe, explain, predict, and control an observed situation. So you trying to explain why something is as it is. You're trying to predict a particular situation. You're trying to describe why people behave in a certain way, or you're trying to control a particular behavior in doing this, following a systematic approach is what we call research. That's what Robert Barby is saying. So you are following the steps that has been laid out, and then you are using these steps to explain, predict, and control and observe behavior. This is what research is. So if you want to construct your own definition of what research is, you need to consider two things: systematic or step by step, and then the collection of data or information. Putting this together, you can get your own definition of research, however you frame it. But do consider these two things: systematic or step by step, and then the collection of information. Putting this together, you have what research is. Alright, so we now look at the type of research based on purpose. Don't forget I did say that there are about 4 classifications of research. So we begin with the first one. That is the type of research based on purpose. Purpose is the reason why you are doing something, the objective, the aim, the initiative behind what you are doing. That's what I mean by purpose. So if you are conducting a research to explain something, to describe something, to explore something, we are saying that these types of research is under purpose. So the type of research based on purpose is looking at research from the point of view of why you are conducting the research. So we'll look at it one by one. The first type is exploratory. So exploratory research is a type of research that you do to investigate a particular situation that there is not much information about. So you are trying to explore, you are trying to go deeper, you are trying to take a step further to understanding something that there's not much information. For instance, if you want to find out why of the vast number of females in Ghana, of more than 50% of the Ghanaian population constituting women, why still there are people that they call themselves gay. This is an area that there's not much information on. So you conducting a research to explore this particular topic, we can term it as exploratory, where you are looking at something that people are not really looking at, or you conducting a research to understanding why students come for lectures late in level 200 when in level 100 they were coming very early, or conducting a research to understand why in level 100 you were getting all the B plus and the A's, and then in level 200 you are putting in much effort, but it seems like you are not living up to what you were doing in level 100. So we can also look at this as exploratory. You're trying to look at an area that there's no pre-existing information or there's no much information about. That's what I mean by exploratory. You are trying to explore. So you conducting a research to explore a situation is what we call exploratory research. So you can use this type of research if you have a general idea of a situation, but you want to take a step further to gather new information about it. So you have a general idea of why students come for lectures late, or maybe they didn't sleep early, or they went for an event during the night and all that. You have a general idea, you have your own opinion, but you taking a step further to gather more information about it is what we call exploratory research. Okay. Now we look at descriptive research. Descriptive, trying to describe something. For instance, what do you see? What do you see on this slide? You see someone yelling at a client. Perhaps the person might have angered him, and then he's telling the person his mind. So Descriptive research means observing something and then trying to measure without manipulating the variables. So for instance, as we just seen, if you are describing this man, whatever you say about him is what you see, not what you think. That's what I mean by descriptive. So you identify characteristics like he opening his mouth wide with an angry face, holding a megaphone and then pointing it towards the telephone. These characteristics helps you to describe the fact that he's speaking angrily at a client. So descriptive research is done to describe why people behave why they do or to describe why something is as it is. That's what I mean by descriptive research. A research that you do to describe something. For instance, market researchers want to observe the habits of customers. So they want to find out where do people go when they come to the mall. Do they go to the cosmetic section or they go to the grocery section? So they can conduct this type of research to describe how they behave when they come to the mall. Maybe they take the first step towards the grocery section and then they make their way out to the cosmetic section. So trying to describe something or conducting a research with the intent to describe why people behave as they behave. So the next type is explanatory research, also known as analytical or casual. So this is the type of research that is conducted with the sole purpose of trying to understand the reasons or the causes or the whys why something happens. So for this type of research, it is conducted to give reasons why something occurs. So conducting a research to understand why student comes to class late, conducting a research to understand why um, when it rains, students don't show up. You are trying to find out the reasons. You are not just describing the fact that when it rains, your students don't come for lectures. That would be descriptive research because you are describing what something is. But for explanatory, you are trying to give reasons why a certain phenomenon occurs. So this particular type of research stems out from descriptive research or it emanates from descriptive research. For instance, when you visit the mall, you tend to realize that at the counter, most of the cashier ladies, they are fair ladies because research has been conducted. And if these business models have come to realization that once you put the fair ladies at the counter or you put them in the mall and the men go out there to buy or to do shopping, the way they will even smile at them would even entice them to what buy more because they are standing there and then you walk through the shopping mall. They ask you, oh, what else can I get you and all that. These are things that attract customers to even buy more. So conducting a research to understanding people's behavior and giving reasons why they behave why as they behave is what we mean by explanatory research. So you are giving the reasons why they do that. Oh, okay, because they smile at the customer, that's why they tend to buy more. Or because they are good looking, that's what entices them to buy more. That is explanatory research. You are trying to explain why something something happens. So these are the three types of research based on purpose, the reason for conducting it. You see that we began with exploratory, descriptive, and now explanatory. So we would now look at the types of research based on approach. Approach is the method. How did you conduct your research? How did you conduct your explanatory research? How did you conduct your exploratory research? How did you conduct your descriptive research? We are now going to look at the type of research from the point of view of what the approach or method. So for that, we have quantitative, qualitative, and the mixed method. These are the three types and the approach. The first is quantitative. So this type of research is the process of you collecting and analyzing numeric data. In other words, trying to collect information that is physical. So conducting a research to know the number of people that visit your shop. You want to know the quantity, the total number, something that can be quantified, something that can be what do you call it? Something that can be grouped. That's what I mean by quantitative research. So one thing you need to know about quantitative research is that it is objective in the sense that if you want to know the number of people that visit your website during the weekdays, you should be able to come to a conclusion that 20 people came to the website. Another person doing the same research should be able to come to the conclusion that 20 people visited the website during the weekdays of the month of September. That's what I mean by quantitative. Since it can be quantified, since you are looking at a total number or data that can be quantified, it should be objective in the sense that we should all come to an agreement that this is the total number. Because for quantitative research, you are looking at numeric data. So for example, you want to find out how many times per week people use social media, how many mobile shopping apps people use. Maybe the average student uses 5. They have Jumia, they have all other shopping mobile apps on their phones. So for that, it should be objective. So we'll now look at qualitative research method. So for this method, it involves collecting and analyzing on numerical data. This is contrary to quantitative, where you try to collect and analyze numerical data, trying to get the total number of people that are engaged in something. But for qualitative, you are not collecting numerical data, but rather you are trying to understand opinions, experiences, and concepts of people. So using the method of interviews, where you ask people to tell you what they feel about a particular circumstance or a particular situation. This can be qualitative because you are trying to understand their experience. Why do you do this? Why do you do that? Using an interview, that can be some form of qualitative research. Then we have the mixed method. Mixed method is an approach to research where you combine both the quantitative and the qualitative. So in as much as you are trying to collect numerical data, at the same time, you are understanding the experiences and the concepts of people. Using this method is known as the mixed method, where you combine quantitative and the qualitative method. So you can either begin with quantitative and end with the qualitative, or you can begin by trying to understand people's opinions and then you move on or you stem out to quantitative by gathering numerical data. But we have to also understand that the mixed method research can help gain more complete picture than a standalone quantitative or qualitative, because if you are using the quantitative, you are trying to gather numerical data, and if you are only using the qualitative tool, you are trying to understand why people engage in something. But it is relevant to integrate these two to get a bigger picture or understanding of a circumstance or a situation. So using the mixed method is more of an advanced approach of understanding a certain phenomenon. So this is where we would draw the curtains on our first episode of research method. I hope you understood everything we did. But in case you have any question or any misunderstanding, you can send your question to the comment section and I'll be sure to attend to them. Thank you for your time and see you in our next episode.